Alright, so I'm working on my wife's 2011 Honda Odyssey. I see some for the generation Odyssey before this, but I haven't seen one directly for this generation of the Odyssey. So I want to do one for the VTEC solenoid gasket. They're pretty much the same, but I figure I'd just have one out there specifically for this. About a year and a half ago, I replaced it. And that was after the alternator went bad. It was covered with oil and everything, and that's how I found out about it. It seems like it may have started up again. If you look down in here, let's see if I can get good. You see there's some oil right there. You see that puddle of oil right there in that little pocket? So it's definitely leaking. When I look down at my alternator though, it's not looking how it was before, where it was just covered with oil. But the back half is probably all covered with oil though. I'm definitely getting puddling on the ground. I had changed out the one. There's a gasket that is down through the passenger side front wheel when you're looking at the engine. It's down there on the where you for the oil filter. There's a filter on there. We have to take that oil filter housing off to change that gasket. That's a known place to leak. I thought it was that. When I took it off, I didn't see anything wrong with that gasket, and the gasket was still kind of moved, or wasn't hard and brittle like some folks. So I thought I replaced it anyway, but I don't think that was it because I'm still getting oil leak. I did end up ordering 3 of these. Only 2 of them made it so far, because the replacement gasket for the VTEC solenoid, people have talked about, not these 2, but these 2, that they will leak because Honda doesn't make these in the aftermarket, and some of them are too small, they aren't thick enough. So I ordered up 3 of them to try to compare the 3. One hasn't made it, only these 2, but of these 2 that did make it, if you take a look, I got them oriented the same way, but if you take a look, they are, let me do it, now they're oriented the same way. If you take a look, this gasket is, what we call that, concave, convex, and this gasket over here on this one is concave. It's supposed to be the same gasket, but that little string there is pointing in different directions, and that's been complaints from some people. So I'll see which one is the right one for mine, and hopefully it's fixed. So I'm going to start this now. I've already taken the cover off. I've already taken the plastic cover off. I've unplugged the plugs down here. This plug right here. This plug right here. So both of these plugs. And I unplugged all the ones going to the ignition coils, because I want to be able to move this rail out of the way to help me get access to it. I have poor lighting. It's winter time here. I'm in the garage, so I'm gonna try to do the best that I can with the lighting that I have. I need a stand. That would be perfect right there. That's good lighting right there, but don't expect that throughout this whole little adventure. So I'm going to need your 10 millimeter, and probably one of these little picks here for you to get in here and release this. I did remove, I'm in the process now of removing, let me get this down there. Let's see here. I'm in the process of removing one of the bolts, which is this one right here. I'm in the process of removing that one there. Off of there. I'm hoping that will help to move this rail. I have zero recollection of exactly what I did last time, so it's almost like it's the first time I'm doing it. So I'm going to remove that one bolt and go from there. So hopefully moving that one bolt will help me to rotate this rail out of the way. Alright, so I'm going to put this up on the on the tripod here and see what we can do. Let's see here. Bear with me here for a moment. I'm getting it all set up. I don't do this for a living like some folks. I just do it just to do it. Let's see here. So I think that's pretty good. And I'll zoom in a bit and come around better, get a better angle. See what I'm doing. I think that's pretty good. Alright. And I had another light bar around here. I'm going to see if I can get that. Here we go. And see if I can hook up this other light bar. It's actually a shot light bar, but it may provide just enough additional lighting for it in there. And feel free to fast forward part. Giving us some additional lighting. That's really not doing anything at all. Nope. Just not bright enough. Okay. Well, scratch that. I'll get that back out of the way. Alright, so we're just going to dive on in. I'm going to get that one bolt out that I was talking about. And hopefully you guys can see it to some degree. And so it's going to be, let's see here. That bolt right there. There's the bolt, and I'm just going to remove the rest of that out of there the rest of the way. I've already loosened it a little bit, and I should be able to get the rest of it out by hand. Alright, got that. Get my trusty magnet and pull that out of there. Should always keep one of those on hand. Alright, so now that allows for it to lift up to some degree. And now I want to work on the rest of the rail. Let's see if I can get that on out of there. Let's see here, I'll put the light that way it's not shining in the camera face. And I'm going to take my pick. And I'm going to work on this. There's one up. I think there's only two of them, one on one end, one on the other end. There we go. So if you're wondering what I was doing, I'll bring this in here a little bit on this rail here. All I had to do was like pull this out a little bit to release it, and then pull the whole rail up towards me to get it off. There's two of them, one on that end and one on the other side, underside over here, and then that should help for it to come on up and out. Alright, and hopefully that gives us a little extra room. Let me get my needle nose. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So over here on this end, for this one right here, I can get it out a little bit more, but there is a little clip down here that I need to be able to access. And in order to do that, I'm going to need, there we go. There it is right here. I'm going to need my needle nose to do that. So there's a better light angle of it. I'll leave this right here while I run over and get it, okay? One moment, people. So I got my needle nose, and so that should help me be able to get it out of there. Alright, jacking up my camera here, my phone that is. So now I'm going to go in and get that out of there. This right here. So I got one side to come loose. Now I just got to squeeze the other side. It's a pretty easy clip to get out, but given the angle, that's what's making it a little bit more difficult. Almost there. Up. Alright. Light over here. So that looks a bit better. That helps me out from Alright, so hopefully now that right there will be enough road space for me to get it out of there. So now we're going to start on the removal. So I'm going to try to get the camera as close as possible. See what I'm doing. Alright, I'll be removing this screw right here. Back that up a little bit. And the other screw. That should be a good view for you guys. So I'm going to do this one first. Remember, I can't remember everything I did before, so I'm just figuring it out as I go along. Memory serves me correctly. I can't remember the how much they're torquing them down to, but it wasn't much. If you over torque it, apparently that could make it leak as well. Some good angles here. Just 1 or 2 screws can't remember if the bolts are of different lengths, so I'm going to pay attention to that when I take them out too, so they go back in the same spot. So that was the length of the first one for the top, so I'm putting that off to the side. For the left side, as you can see, is a bit shorter than the other one, so I'm going to put that one in the middle for the left side, and then for the right side, same size as the one that was next to it on the right hand side. So the two bottom ones are short and the one at the top is long. Alright, and it appears to be loose already, and I guess probably ready to come off. Alright, so there it is right there. That's one of the gaskets. So I'm going to take that out and change that gasket. And I believe I should be able to take that one out too to replace the gasket. I think I should have been able to take this off as one unit. But again, I'm remembering all this as I go along. Take that. There we go. There's the other gasket. I didn't have to take it off. So the gasket is just separated by this plate here. And so I'm going to set that plate off to the side for a second. And I believe you have to be careful. There's a pin right here. Sometimes people lose those. It's kind of a guide pin. Be careful of that. Don't lose that. And so as you can see, let me get my pointer right here. You see that gasket? You see it's in there. It's concaved in there. So we have to make sure to use the same replacement gasket that is inside, not convex, pointing out the screen. And if you take a look at the gasket I replaced it with, it's already kind of flat. Overall condition looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and take that out of there now. I always try not to damage these if I don't have to, because you never know if you have to put it back in because something doesn't work out. So sometimes it's better to at least have it. So here it is here. Alright, let's take this over and check all of this out, okay? Alright, just a second. I'll set up here. I'll use this as the work area. And I'll put this down here. So that's the old gasket, one of the old gaskets. Parts. This was the plate that was between them. This right here is how it's situated onto the vehicle, like that. And so that's the gasket that's below there, as you can see. And I don't know. I'll replace both of them and hope that fixes the issue. First I thought my wife's car was burning oil because I guess it was leaking, but it wasn't making it down to the ground. But I guess after everything got saturated enough, it started leaving puddles on the ground. And I don't want to replace that alternator again. I did that myself, and that was a big job. So it wasn't horrible, but it was more than I want to do again. So there is that gasket. So I just want to get out the similar ones out. So I'll pull this one out and see if it looks the same. And as you can see, I got them oriented the same way, and the screens are in the same direction. So appears to be, hopefully it's thick enough. I'll take it out. to take it out ahead of time until I know if I have to return it or not. There it is. This is the new one here. Alright. So I'll take that. I'll take some of that oil and put it around on the gasket. And so not you. That's going to go in the bottom one. And oh, that one gets this one over here. And so that one will go in there like that. Alright. Take a little oil, spread it around on there, and I'll put it off up in there. And seems to fit okay. Take the plate here. Remember that guide pin. Make sure that guide pin is still in there. And put it back on there. Oops. Just put it back on there the right way. This will be oriented like that. And going back on. Guide pin going down here. And then I'm going to take my new one and we're going to take it over to the car. Drop the other gasket in and then bolt this puppy back up. Position for you guys. Real life, people. Real life right here. Alright. Not the best angle. I think this is probably still the best angle over here. I would say, what do you guys think? Best angle? Alright, so now I'm going to take the new gasket right here and I'm going to set it down in there. Make sure it's set in there good. This top half seems a bit fat. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it's getting in there now. Alright. So got that in. And now I'm going to take the plate and put the plate over there. The holes go at the bottom, so it should be oriented like that. Let me clean this off a bit. I'm going to get a rag real quick. I don't want to get anything under that food in my hand. Alright, I'm back. Just want to get a shop towel and clean this off a bit. Now I'm going to put it back on. There we go, like that. And I'm going to take this unit with the gasket already up in there, as you can see, the replacement gasket. And I'm going to put it in there. And you can see right here, on the top, it has a guide pin, just like the other one has a guide pin, so to go into the other hole. So make sure, so 2 guide pins, don't lose them because they can come out, they can fall out. It's in there. Remember, the long bolt goes at the top. And then the short bolt goes on the bottom. By hand. So I have 2 in, and now I'm going to put the last one in. Alright. And the hole for that one is just to the left of its right here. Dark, but kind of the way it is, unfortunately. And I'll put that one in. To tighten them down with my 10mm. And right now I don't have the ratchet on. I'm just tightening it down a bit more by hand initially. I don't have a torque wrench. I'm just guessing about what, I don't know, 11 pounds whatever the torque specs are. Feels like, but that feels pretty good to me. And now I just have to button everything back up. That was kind of it in a nutshell. The only way I'm gonna know if it's leaking again is after I clean it all up with some brake cleaner to get all the old oil off, and see if it's still doing it after that. All right, I'll try to post it in the comments and give you guys an update to let you know if it worked or not. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.